Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sharon and today we'll be doing a 2.5 year microloc update. My fingers are freezing, my mic battery died and I'm in the middle of nowhere, so this is what we are improvising with. Hopefully it shouldn't be too distracting. I have an entire MICROLOCS playlist talking about everything from installation to pricing and all the updates along the journey so far. So I won't spend too much time on that and I'll focus on the Q&A. And as I go along, if there's anything that's significant that's changed since the last update, we'll definitely talk about it. So I think the first question was, when did I stop braiding and banding? So I think the last update on my last wash day, which I link above, I was talking about being torn about when is the point that it's comfortable to stop braiding and banding. And the last time I was in Nairobi, last July actually, not in December, my hair was washed while it was open and I was okay with it. So I think officially I stopped braiding and banding at the 2-year mark. So that's when I stopped, but I had been toying with it since a year and a half into my hair journey. So I no longer braid and band. And there's been no reports of like the condition of my locks being impacted by not braiding and banding. If there's anything, which we will talk about, like any issues I've had with my locks so far, it's had nothing to do with me not braiding and banding for the last 6 months or so. The next question is, how long did the thickening of the locks start to happen for you? Thickening, I feel like that started to happen around, again, 18 months, maybe. I would say a little over a year into my lock journeys when I noticed that they started to bulb up. In fact, right now, I feel like since my locks got longer and they're hanging down, it's not as obvious. But I think if we look back at older videos, you'll see when it started to bulge along the lengths of the strands. Let me see if I can come closer. So I would say probably 16 to 18 months into my journeys when I felt like they were really thickening up. But also I've always had very thick hair, and even when I installed my MICROLOCS, okay, it's no different. They were much finer, I would say, so it started to kind of bulk up, yes, a year and a half into the journey, and I feel like it's bulked up a lot more since I stopped braiding and banding. I guess because I'm not like keeping my locks in braids anymore. I really don't do braid outs as such. I used to have a braid out after my wash day quite naturally, but I don't like intentionally style my hair as such. But since I just started like washing my hair open, I feel like it swells up a lot more, probably because of the water. So it just feels thicker overall. The next question is about any DIY scalp treatment you can recommend to avoid buildup. So I think we've talked about buildup on the scalp before, or like dry scalp, itchy scalp, which is something I did have issues with earlier on in my hair journey. I don't do any DIY treatments, period. I don't use any DIY anything on my hair, actually on my skincare, on my skin either. And I did an entire series when it was trending, the 30-day detox, and I have a video talking about why I don't use DIY, so I'll link it above. I don't know which side it is, but yeah, so I don't use anything DIY. So for most of my lock journey, the only thing that's gone onto my scalp has been shampoo. I'm gonna remove my specs because this okay. So for most of my lock journey, the only thing that I've applied to my scalp has been shampoo and rose water, and there's a point when that was not cutting it. But as I've talked about before, oil on my scalp makes my scalp super itchy. It just doesn't agree with my scalp. I was going to test out, and I still might in the future, test out squalane oil, because that's an oil that my skin agreed with. So maybe my scalp would. The scalp is skin anyway. But at the moment I'm trying out a serum from The Ordinary, a scalp serum. I've not used it long enough to advocate for it, but I feel like personally, for me, when my scalp is dry or itchy, one of two things: it's either actual, like it requires moisture, or it's dirt and it just needs to be shampooed. So if you're getting a lot of buildup, then you probably need to look at your cleansing routine. Are you using a clarifying shampoo? How often are you shampooing your hair? Is it doing a good job? Because you really, with locks, unlike open hair, I find like they really need to be stripped to avoid that buildup at the root. Not that I've completely avoided it. I don't really inspect my scalp, but I think earlier on in the journey it was a lot. I had a lot more build up where it was a bit flakier than it is now. I think now it's a lot better. Long and short, I don't have a DIY scalp treatment to recommend, but if you are struggling with any scalp issues and it's something maybe you've experienced for a while and you're not sure what's going on, I always recommend considering speaking to a dermatologist, because you might have some sort of condition like psoriasis or eczema or seborrheic dermatitis, you know, something that needs maybe some sort of treatment to help with the flakiness, the dryness, or the buildup. That's if a good cleansing routine doesn't work, or some sort of hydration to your scalp, whether that's with a hydrating serum or, you know, a water-based product, something that has humectants and water that can actually provide moisture to the scalp. I know people even put hyaluronic acid on their scalps as well, because again, it's just like skin. So some things to consider. I'll look into it more and see if maybe we can talk about it in a different video, but I think I've also talked about it in another video and I'll share that up there. Oh my god, my fingers are starting to freeze. It's so cold. Okay. Before you retie, do you feel like weighty, like they're dragging at the root? Then after a retie, it's okay. So no, I wouldn't say so. I will say that as my hair has gotten longer, I do feel a bit of the weight of my locks, especially when they're wet and after a wash, but I do not feel like they're dragging before a retie. I would ask you, how often are you retying your hair? Is it too frequently or not frequently enough? Because from listening to locticians, one place you can go wrong is either like going too long between reties or retying too often. I think both can cause thinning at the roots, and so that your ends are much thicker and the base is much thinner, and that would cause that weight. But also just, I think, naturally as the locks grow, they are more likely to put more tension at the base, and that's something I'm a bit scared of happening as they get, because I can feel how much fuller they are now, and I'll show you like a better texture shot if I've not already. But yeah, I'm like, will there be a point when they're too weighty and I might have thinning at the base? I hope not, but you know, you never know. Like, it's a journey and the hair's gonna do what it's gonna do, and whatever it's gonna do, we're gonna figure it out, adjust, pivot, trim, cut it all off. You know, it's just life. I hope that helps a little bit. My next question was, would you do extensions? So this is something I talked about earlier on in my journey. I've just never felt the need to. I've never felt called to do it. The only people who make me very curious about playing with my locks are Chloe and Hallie, the sisters who do very fun things with their hair. But it's never been a thing. It's a thing I see and I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but not like, oh, I want to do that. Especially now as it's gotten longer and longer, I just have no itch to add to braid over it or do anything with my hair. I'm just really happy with it as it is. In fact, I think I spend very little time with my hair. I could do more with it before I even consider extensions. So the short answer is potentially, but right now I wouldn't say that it's something I'm particularly interested in. Would you wish for your locks to reach way past your shoulders? Sure, I think when I had open natural hair, there was a point I really wanted my hair to grow super long, to grow to my waist or to my butt. But I really don't have a length goal. I would say like it would be really cool to see how long they can get. You know, if time allows, if patience allows as well, and if they continue to remain healthy enough to take, you know, as long as they can get. So it'd be really cool to see. But I can't say I have any length goal. I'm really enjoying them at this length that they are right now. So yeah, what are the do's and don'ts for someone contemplating starting the journey? I think this is a fantastic question, and I probably would want to do an entire video on this, so I'll sit with it a bit more. The main thing I would say is, if you're thinking about starting, you need to be super sure that you're ready to make the commitment. Again, there are people who comb out their locks, who get them installed maybe and they don't like how it looks and they undo it and do it again. You know, it's not that deep at the end of the day. The main thing that makes it that deep is the financial investment. So you would not want to commit to it and then undo it and have, you know, essentially wasted all of that money. And I mean, it's also someone's time, but you're paying for their labor. So I would say, probably off the top of my head, the main thing is, at least for me, there was a point when you know when you're ready to get your hair locked. Like, I kept talking about it, I kept keeping my hair in smaller and smaller mini twists. I was just ready. There's a point when I knew, you know, that I was ready to do it. So I would say that's the main thing. Make sure you're super ready to do it. Do's and don'ts. What other thing? I'd say do listen to your loctician. Find a loctician you can trust, and both in installation but in maintenance. I think that part is probably a very hard part of the journey. Like finding a loctician you vibe with, who is, you know, within your budget, but also who knows what they're doing. So I'd say find a good loctician, do your research, watch a lot of videos, hear from people who love their locks like me, but also hear from people who regret their decision, just to hear a different perspective that might make you reconsider. Yeah, and so in terms of what you do with your hair, there are people who are super strict by the book, especially people in the sister lock community, or who follow the sister lock protocol. And I think when I got my locks installed, I was really overly cautious in terms of how I take care of them. Like, I was not using any oils, I was not using, you know, I was doing everything by the book, just shampoos, frequency of the reties. And then you'll find a big part of the lock community is very easygoing, which is very liberating. And if you think about, like, when you visualize what someone with locks, the kind of person, when you think of someone with locks, the kind of person that they are, you know, it's like very, you know, we wake up and we let our hair do what it needs to do. We don't, you know, tame it and all of those things. So there is a corner of the lock community that's very much, you know, they go more with the flow. Even though I would say, like, managing tiny locks, smaller locks, and traditional locks is a little bit different. There is a corner of the tiny lock community that's a little less regimented with, you know, their reties, with the products they use, with the person who installs them, with how they install them, with how they, you know what I mean? So I would say it's such a wide world. The lock community is very fascinating, very interesting. Spend some time in it, hear from different perspectives, consult a loctician to even get advice about whether your hair is in a good state to get locks, because sometimes, you know, you need a bit of time. Maybe your hair is quite fine, which doesn't stop you from getting locks, but you might have other hair issues that need to be sorted out first. Maybe, you know, you might have a very weak hairline, or you have some alopecia, you know, like there could be other things going on, or as I said, you have some scalp conditions that would probably be exacerbated or worsened if you had to lock your hair and not be able to put oils, or you're shampooing with very stripping shampoos every single week. You know what I mean? There's a lot to think about from that perspective. So I hope that helps, but I'll think more and potentially do a whole video about this. What's your daily routine? I've said this I think in every update. I just sleep on a satin pillowcase, and I do want to start like putting them up with a scarf. If I've said this in another video, oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't really like cover my hair at night. I just sleep on a satin pillowcase, and then in the morning I will spray my hair. So I started using a leave-in type product, which I will review on a separate video, but it's from As I Am. I'll put it into the video. I'm not using that every day. I'm playing it by ear, but it has actually made my locks feel a bit softer, a bit more conditioned. So I would say I'm using that maybe 2-3 times a week. In between, if I feel like I need to, I'll still spray rose water. And then I'm still toying with this serum. I will definitely put it on my scalp on wash day itself, and still figuring out the frequency of that. The second question was, ever lost a lock? I haven't done a recount of my locks, so I'm not sure, but as far as I know, I haven't. There is one lock somewhere that is thin, and I think I've shown you guys in a different video. I will find it and show you, but there's one that the base is very thin and the ends are very thick. I'll try and find it, just because I have one hand at the moment, but I'll look for that lock. So that one, though, the last time I got a retie, which was very recently, a week ago, she said you don't have to lose the lock. If it gets too thin, we would just trim it, trim the part that's thinned off, and then it would leave a very short lock. So I have a thinning lock or two. I have a few thinning locks around my hairline, and my loctician here, not Karen from Nairobi, she said it's probably because of the way I tie my hair back. So when I go to work, I don't even actually like tie my hair up as such. Well, I've done it a couple of times, but I tend to just pull my hair back and then wear, you know, those elastic hair bands. Let me find it. Oh my god, my fingers are freezing, you guys. I need to wear gloves. This one. So it's just a stretchy band, and then it keeps all my hair back. But I think that has gradually like started to pull the front locks. So I'm working on figuring out how to not do that. I think I might start flat twisting the front so that it's not being pulled back, and see if that helps. Yeah. Would you be interested in like a lock count video? I know that people do that as well, so that could be something I can do, and we can find out if I lost a lock, or if I still have, yeah, if I still have the same number of locks as I did when I started, or I might even have more. I don't know what people. I just trust my locticians when I'm at the salon. I don't know what they could be doing in there. Maybe they've combined some of my locks. So products, which is the next question. What products do you apply? What does your wash day routine look like? I've done a recent wash day. I currently use 2 shampoos, a clarifying and hydrating shampoo, and I've talked about rose water, which is still in my life forever, and then I now have this leave-in spray and a scalp serum. So that's all I'm using. And my wash day routine, I will link a video up here. That's all. I just shampoo my hair and I'm done. How was your budding stage? I don't really like the feeling of the bumps. Hope it smooths out. So I think we talked a bit about, yeah, when they started to thicken. I also really didn't enjoy like seeing my locks bump up. I think there's still a couple of them that have bumpy, like they're bumpy on the length of the hair. But yeah, I really didn't enjoy that. I don't like seeing my locks and then it's just like a bump, then another bump, then another bump, but it's part of the budding phase. I think it does smooth out. I feel like they're much smoother now as they're getting longer. They're smoother and much thicker, so you just gotta be patient. You know, I say all this, but it's like I'm experiencing my lock journey very passively. part of me wishes it was a bit more active. I think I just really don't have as much time, which is partly why I got the locks in the first place. But yeah, I'm really just letting them do their thing. I wish I could just keep a tiny camera. There's a camera that would just watch my locks 24/7, and I could watch every single like phase. I think that would have been the most ideal, but I don't have that tiny camera, so I just let it do its thing. Next, my front pieces have slippage a lot. Do you experience that? Oh my god, this is the bane of my existence. The number of times they've had to redo a lock at the front. Actually, right now, this is a new lock. I don't know if you can see that. This is a lock that was just installed because can you see that? They keep unraveling. The front of my hair keeps unraveling. So I've given up at this point. Every time I go for a retie, a lock at the front has to be repaired. So even when my hair was open, the front of my hairline was always like a slightly looser texture. So I guess that's why it's not, and I guess sweat, water when you wash your face, all of that. But yeah, till now I keep my locks at the front keep unraveling. Very, very annoying. Did you get dandruff? Yes, I did. Actually, the last time when I got a retie when I was in Nairobi in December, so just like 2 minutes ago. But the thing is, I had swam that week and I didn't apply anything, so I don't know if it was purely dandruff or it was just my scalp was super dry from chlorine and you know, shampooing thereafter. She had to use the Keto Plus shampoo, which has an antifungal. It's the shampoo I used to use when I was like trying to deal with my self-diagnosed fungal acne, and that's what she used on my scalp as a treatment. So I have experienced an extremely flaky scalp, likely dandruff or something else, I don't know. Yeah, and that's what they used at the salon. So some people use like things like Head and Shoulders, which has an antifungal, but yeah, you can get shampoos with an antifungal in them if you struggle with dandruff. And something like again, locks are they're the thing that are going to show you your scalp. You and your scalp are just facing one another and you can't run and you can't hide. A retie is painful if one has a sensitive scalp. Potentially, I do not. I've never had a sensitive scalp. Knock on wood. But actually, this is wood. I don't know. But yeah, if you do have a sensitive scalp, they might be. I find it very relaxing. There are some points when you do feel like it's a little bit sensitive, so it might be something. If you find like braiding, although sometimes really it depends on the person who's doing your hair, but if you might find braiding painful, then it's possible you might find reties sore, but it's really not the same technique. I would say a very gentle technician or loctician would hopefully not, but I know there are people with very sensitive scalps who reties for them are very painful, and some of those people have learned to self retie so that they don't have to deal with someone else inflicting pain. Another question was, have you struggled with lint or buildup? Yes, I talked about lint in another video, and the things I'm doing to mitigate it or to like reduce the risk. I don't even know how much lint I have anymore. I don't even care. Like, I think lint is a part of the lock life. The worst, I know that the part that I would have lint is the back here, the base of my locks. And then now, because it's much longer, it's obviously sitting on my clothes more. So just have to be cautious with materials, with your pillows and your beddings. Probably keep your hair like tied up, or if you're at home, wear your bonnet, wear your scarf would be the main thing. But I don't take as much precaution. If the lint gets out of hand, I know people usually dye their hair to like cover the lint. Maybe I'll do that if I need to. I think those are the main questions. And I feel like that kind of covers where we're at in terms of my journey so far. I think the usual questions I answer is like, do I regret blocking my hair? No, absolutely living for it. I don't miss my open natural hair yet, 2.5 years into it. One thing that is worth mentioning is somewhere between August and December 2024, I went 3 months without a retie, partly for many life reasons, but finding a new loctician, busy work schedule, it was really difficult. And I had a retie that took like 9 hours to do, and that was hellish. My reties are feeling a bit longer, but I think again it depends on your loctician. Some people are much faster, but I also have a lot of hair. I don't know if it's just feeling like a lot more now, but also I wasn't doing a good job of popping. You know, when you wash your hair and the locks start to marry at the base, like the two locks might want to connect because of new growth. I was not doing a good job of separating that, so I feel like part of the retie session was a detangling session. So I'm trying to be better with that, so that hopefully the reties are much smoother. I also feel like washing my hair more often, which is now every 2 weeks, and might even come down to every week because I'm working out more, is helping with many things. It's helping with my build up, with the health of my scalp, with general like build up on the locks as well, and with that tangling at the base. So I think those are the main things I can say about my hair journey so far. So if there are any more questions, let me know, drop in the comments, and I can always make more videos getting into whatever you guys want to know. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember that your hair is your crown and your body is a temple. Embrace it, love it, and take care of it.